All right, so let's jump into this deep dive today. We're going to be looking at some stuff going on with Sony and PlayStation Network and PC gaming. It's been interesting to see the developments recently, especially with how they've handled accounts.
Yeah, the whole Helldivers 2 thing, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good example of, how different the console and PC gaming cultures can be.
Exactly. Like requiring people to log into PSN even for single player games. I mean, what was even the thought process behind that, do you think?
Well, he said it was about like security and, getting people trophies and being able to manage friends lists and all that. But honestly, like my suspicion is that they were also trying to build up the whole PlayStation Network ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even get some more of that juicy player data.
Ah, so like a walled garden approach. But it sounds like that really backfired on them. PC gamers weren't having it.
Not at all. A lot of PC gamers felt like it was just too intrusive,
Hmm.
especially for single-player games. Like they just wanted to play the game without any extra hassle.
And it's not like it even worked for everybody. I mean, in some regions, you couldn't even access PSN.
Right.
So
Okay.
it definitely wasn't a recipe for success. But here's where things get interesting. Because Sony just announced a major change in their policy.
Yeah, they've been listening to the feedback for sure.
You're telling me PSN accounts are now optional for some of their biggest upcoming PC releases.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, even Spider-Man 2, and The Last of Us Part 2.
Wow, that's huge. That's not just like a small change. That feels like a pretty big shift in how they're thinking about PC gaming in general.
So no more mandatory logins, but they're still giving people reasons to connect their accounts.
Right.
So what kind of goodies are they offering?
Think like in-game rewards, maybe some exclusive cosmetic items or some XP boosts, stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's pretty smart. So they're basically saying, hey, we get it, PC gamers like their independence. But if you want to join the PlayStation fam,
Yeah.
we've got some sweet perks for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a much better way to encourage people to use PSN without forcing them.
So win-win for both Sony and the players, right?
Yeah, it seems like it. It shows they're actually paying attention to what PC gamers want.
For sure. But this whole thing raises some interesting questions. Like, for you personally, as a gamer, does this make you more likely to check out some of those Sony games now?
Honestly, yeah. Like that forced login thing was a real deal breaker for me. But now that it's optional, I'm definitely more open to it.
That makes sense. It'll be interesting to see how those in-game rewards actually play out, though.
Yeah, for sure.
But on a larger scale, what do you think this change says about how Sony views PC gaming?
Well, I think they're starting to realize that PC gaming isn't going anywhere. And that it might even be an opportunity for them to reach a wider audience.
Right. So instead of seeing PC gaming as competition, maybe they're starting to see it as just another way to connect with players.
Yeah. Like the lines between consoles and PC are getting blurrier all the time. Gamers just want to play games.
Yeah.
Wherever they want, however they want. So we might be headed towards a more platform-agnostic future for gaming.
That's a real possibility.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah. Imagine a world where you could seamlessly move between your PlayStation, your PC, even your phone, and all your progress and everything would just carry over.
That would be incredible. But there are definitely challenges to overcome to get there.
Oh, absolutely. Like different platforms have different hardware, different controls, different online infrastructures. There's a lot to figure out.
For sure. But I think we're already starting to see some creative solutions.
Oh, yeah. Like cloud gaming is becoming more and more popular. And that has the potential to really break down some of those platform barriers.
Exactly. So it's definitely an exciting time to be a gamer.
It really is. There's a lot of potential for the future.
Absolutely. But even with all this talk about technology and platforms, it's important to remember what it's all about, the games themselves.
Oh, you're so right. At the end of the day, it's the games that matter.
Exactly. A great game is a great game, no matter what platform you're playing it on.
Couldn't agree more.
So while it's fun to speculate about the business side of things and the future of gaming, let's not forget why we love games in the first place. For sure. The joy, the excitement, the escape they provide, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a good place to transition into our final thoughts for today.
Sounds good to me. I've got something I think our listeners will really want to consider after this deep dive.
Perfect.
So let's wrap things up here
Right.
and leave everyone with something to think about.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it really makes you think, what if this whole platform agnostic thing really takes off? Like, how would that change gaming?
Right. Like, would it even be console gamers versus PC gamers anymore? Or would we all just be gamers?
Exactly. Just imagine, You could be playing on your PlayStation.
Yeah.
Then switch over to your PC, then pick up right where you left off on your phone.
And all your progress and achievements and friends would all be synced up.
That sounds pretty awesome, right?
It does, but there are definitely some challenges, like how do you make all that stuff work technically? Yeah, good point. I mean, different platforms have different hardware and software and online services. How do you make sure a game runs smoothly on all of them?
That's a big one. But we're already seeing some solutions like cloud gaming.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So you could basically stream a game to any device without needing a super powerful machine.
Exactly. But then there's also the game design aspect. Like, how do you make a game that feels good to play on a keyboard and mouse and a controller?
And a touch screen.
That's a tough one. It seems like developers would need to really rethink how they design games.
For sure. It's a whole new way of thinking about game development.
But I'm sure they'll figure it out. Game developers are pretty creative.
Oh, yeah, they'll find a way.
And think about the benefits for gamers.
Right.
Like, imagine being able to play with your friends, no matter what platform they're on.
That would be awesome. No more platform wars.
Exactly. Just pure gaming fun.
And it's not just about the social aspect, it's also about convenience. Oh, yeah, like you could start playing a game on your phone during your commute, then switch to your PC when you get home. Or even your laptop if you're traveling.
Right. You could literally play anywhere, anytime.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It feels like we're on the verge of a major shift in gaming.
It really does.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, Sony's new policy is a step in the right direction. But it's not like they've completely embraced this whole optional PSN thing.
Oh, right. You're talking about some of their older PC ports.
Yeah, like Until Dawn and that Lego Horizon game.
Those still require a PSN account.
Yep.
So it's kind of like they're sending mixed signals. On one hand, they're saying they want to be more platform friendly, but on the other hand, they're still holding on to these old requirements.
It's like they're dipping their toes in the water. But they're not ready to fully commit yet.
Maybe they're worried about losing money.
It's possible. They're probably trying to figure out how to make this new model work financially.
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. They want to appeal to PC gamers, but they don't want to alienate their console audience either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
So for you personally, do you think Sony's being genuine about all this?
That's a tough one. Part of me wants to believe they're trying to do the right thing. But I also know they're a business. And businesses are always looking out for their bottom line.
So maybe it's a bit of both.
Probably. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they do next.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
We'll see how they handle those older PC ports.
And their future releases.
And it's not just about Sony either.
Right. This is a trend that's happening across the entire industry.
More and more companies are exploring cross-platform play and cloud gaming.
It's definitely a sign of things to come.
So we're living in a pretty exciting time for gaming.
We are. It's going to be interesting to see where it all goes.
Absolutely. But with all this talk about platforms and technology, we can't forget about the most important thing. Games.
Oh, you're so right.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we're all here.
To play games.
Exactly. A good game is a good game, no matter what platform you're playing it on.
For sure.
So while it's fun to talk about the business side of things and all the crazy technology, let's not lose sight of the heart of it all.
Lovely gaming.
Exactly. So I think this is a good point to move on to our final thoughts for today.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with something to really think about.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've talked about Sony, their strategy, the whole idea of, games being playable on any platform. But for someone listening to this right now, what does it all actually mean for them as a gamer?
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? Like, all this industry stuff is interesting, but how does it change how you experience games?
Right. Like, let's say you're mostly a PC gamer. Does this make you more likely to try out those Sony games now?
I think for a lot of people it does. Like, that whole PSN requirement was a big turnoff. But now, it's like they're actually giving PC gamers a chance.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, we're serious about PC gaming. We want you to feel welcome.
Exactly.
But what about this bigger idea? Like, what if all games were playable on any platform? Is that exciting or kind of scary?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, on the one hand, it'd be amazing to have that much freedom.
Right. You could play whatever you want, wherever you want.
But on the other hand, I think each platform has its own unique identity.
Yeah. Like, consoles have that curated feel.
And PC gaming is all about customization and pushing the limits.
So how do we keep those things while also moving towards a more unified gaming world?
That's the million-dollar question.
It seems like a real challenge for developers.
It is. But it's also a challenge for us as gamers.
Oh, how so?
Well, we have to decide what kind of future we want.
Like, do we want every game to be available everywhere?
Even if it means they lose some of their unique character.
Or do we want to preserve those differences?
Even if it means we miss out on some games.
That's a tough one.
There are no easy answers.
It's going to be an ongoing process, I think.
As the industry figures things out.
But the cool thing is, we as gamers have a voice in all this.
Oh, absolutely. Our choices matter. Like, if you want more platform-agnostic games, support the developers who are making them.
And if you want games that are specifically designed for a certain platform,
Make sure you're vocal about that, too.
it's all about being an active participant in the gaming world.
Exactly. And being aware of the choices we're making.
Because those choices will shape the future of gaming.
It's a pretty exciting time to be a gamer.
It really is. There's so much potential.
For sure.
Well, I think that about wraps things up for us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a great conversation.
I always enjoy these deep dives.
And thanks to everyone listening out there. We'll catch you next time.
Keep on gaming.